Bill Maher got owned like you've probably never seen before.
And then he talked to me for like 20 minutes about how the election was stolen.
But it wasn't.
Well, I think it was.
During a podcast with David Mamet as the guest, the conversation shifted to the state of our latest elections, and the Hollywood legend dismantled Bill's points one by one.
Well, you like me have built a career out of nothing except talent and a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, but you're full of shit.
And today, we're covering this eye-opening back and forth, so buckle up because you're in for a treat.
Trump, that election was stolen by Biden, and no, I didn't. You were kind of like hedging it, and now you're like,
Well, you know what happened to me the next morning. You don't know what happened to me the next morning. I was on your show and you said, "Are you implying that the election was stolen?" And I was kind of iffy on it. Right, next morning, 8 o'clock, the phone rings. David, it's Donald Trump. I say, Mr. President, thank you for calling. To what do I owe the honor? He said, I saw you on Bill Maher yesterday. You were great. He said, but you wussed out on the question of the stolen election. And then he talked to me for like 20 minutes about how the election was stolen.
But it wasn't.
Well, I think it was.
But they've adjudicated this. They've looked at this. Republicans have looked at this. It was tested in court like 60 times.
I'm not talking about the votes. I'm not talking about counting the votes. That the Hunter Biden laptop was suppressed, the COVID information was suppressed. Zuckerberg said himself that the White House pressured him not to bring forward the information on the laptop.
I mean, those are valid points. If we set aside the fact that 2024 saw the highest voter turnout in the last 50 years, there's no denying the events David brought up had a real impact on the election cycle. Pretending otherwise would be plain hypocritical. That's especially true for the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story. Just look back 4 years earlier, and you'll find that Hillary Clinton's email scandal, paired with the sudden reopening of the FBI investigation just days before the election, became a massive story. Whether you loved her or hated her, there's no question that it hurt her campaign and helped swing momentum. But Bill wasn't convinced and shot back with a bizarre deflection.
But would it have swung the election? Every election, some things are suppressed. It's not a very fair game, politics, but we do play within a certain type of rules. One of them is no ringers from the outside.
Wait, we play within a certain amount of rules?
Yes, we always did before. Like, we're not going to have other countries involved in our elections. That was, we'll do whatever we want to each other, but we're not going to do that. And Trump...
Who did it?
Well, Trump publicly said, Russia, if you're listening, could you get into Hillary's emails? That kind of stuff.
He was joking about.
Oh, boy, you swallowed the whole...
So wait a second. Are you saying that he would not... Okay, you want to adjudicate the last 8 years. Were you saying he was a Russian spy?
I did not say that. I'm not saying he's a Russian spy. I don't think that. I even think he really wants to make America great. I do. I don't agree with how he's doing it. But he certainly invited another country to do things, and they took advantage of it, of course.
Oh.
Would it have made a difference? I don't know.
In just 60 seconds, we watched Bill swing from confidently declaring that Russian meddling decided the 2016 elections to suddenly admitting that he didn't know if it made any difference at all. That's quite the 180. Plus, I thought Bill was firmly against questioning or denying the results of the election. Yet, here he was insinuating that Trump wouldn't have won the race against Hillary if it weren't for the Russians. Which, whether he realizes it or not, is doing exactly that. It's the same kind of logic he criticizes when it comes from the other side. And then, just seconds later, Bill managed to outdo himself by making one of the most childish claims I've ever heard in a political debate.
How did they take advantage of it?
Well, Trump's campaign manager was sharing polling data with a GRU agent.
Maybe.
Well... Okay, that's something that, I mean, even Nixon didn't do that.
Wait, that's the first that I've heard. A, and B, if it's true, and I'm not saying that it is, how did that influence the election?
Well, we know that Russia would put things on the internet that weren't true just to get people fighting, that kind of stuff.
Like what?
They would say, like, the Pope, they would put up some meme about, the Pope is backing Trump. It wasn't true, but people believed it, and then they started to fight over it.
First off, polling data isn't some top secret classified file locked in a vault. The Russians or any other intelligence agency for that matter can look at polling numbers on their own. It's public information. We are the United States, not the CCP, where data gets hidden away or suppressed from the public. And honestly, foreign intelligence running a psyop shouldn't surprise anyone. That's literally their job. They've been doing it for decades, just like our intelligence agencies run operations abroad. That's how it's always worked. But here's the important question. What exactly does any of this have to do with Trump? It's not like he was sitting at Mar-a-Lago directing their actions. To automatically assume that is a leap, and one that still doesn't have the hard evidence to back it up.
When last we spoke several years ago, you were stuck on this issue. You're still stuck on it. How come?
Because it's not been resolved.
So wait, what is it that hasn't been resolved?
The asymmetry of American elections. The fact that if one party, the Republican Party, wins the election, the other party goes, okay, you win some, you lose some, and they go home.
So
Hillary Clinton went home, Kamala Harris went home.
Yeah.
You can't imagine Trump ever going home.
Excuse me. Now what you're doing is injecting metaphysics into what might be a matter of. So is the question is not what he did. The question is not even what he might do. What you've just said is one can't imagine what he would do. But on the other hand...
No, I don't have to imagine what he did in 2020, which was never concede the election. I'm not even...
Dude, he didn't have to concede the election. He lost. If somebody is beaten in a prize fight and the other guy gets the belt, the person who's beaten does not have to concede. It's not necessary. He's lost.
Well, it is necessary. The analogy falls down because that if a prize fighter loses, it doesn't inspire people to riot.
How did he inspire people to riot?
By not conceding the election.
Oh, come on.
When it comes to conceding the race to Biden, Bill does have a point. It's a long-standing political tradition, and keeping certain customs alive, even if they're largely symbolic and don't change the actual outcome, helps maintain some sense of stability in the process. And here's where Maher completely misses the mark. Trump did in fact leave the White House. What makes it even more ironic is that Bill seems comfortable applying one standard to Trump while completely ignoring the fact that a large portion of Democrats still believe Hillary was the rightful winner in 2016. At this point, David had had enough of Bill's mental gymnastics and shut him down once and for all.
Well, you like me have built a career out of nothing except talent and a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, but you're full of shit. What I don't understand when you say that he did not say the words "I concede" caused half the country, which you just said, to riot.
No, I didn't say half the country rioted. A lot of people rioted, and it was less than half the country because he got less than half the votes and still won. That's okay. That's our system. But a good deal of the country, approaching half, the people who are MAGA, the people who love him, at least a third of the country, will now in the future never accept any electoral results. And a democracy can't continue in that way. You have to have this situation we've always had where the one football coach walks across the field and shakes the hand with the coach who just beat him in the game.
You know another way a democracy starts to fall apart? When certain states refuse to require voter ID. It's one of the most basic safeguards you can have to make sure elections are fair and secure, yet for some reason, many on the left seem determined to avoid making it a standard policy. And here's why that's important. Small things like that affect people's trust in the system, which is far easier to lose and incredibly hard to regain. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the story, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.